Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 515. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. This week on the show, we'll be taking a look at Jeremy Saulnier's Rebel Ridge, which is out now on Netflix. We'll also be going over some of what you're on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters via D and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I think we can get straight on into Rebel Ridge. As I mentioned, this is written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier. I have a synopsis here. An ex-Marine grapples his way through a web of small-town corruption when an attempt to post bail for his cousin escalates into a violent standoff with the local police chief. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Rebel Ridge?
Rebel Ridge. No expectations for this one, honestly. And for the most part, it delivered. You know, it was quite a surprise with it being a next Netflix movie.
Yeah, but it's Saulnier, so like I was very excited for this. Now his last movie, which was also a Netflix one, Hold the Dark. I liked it, but I was like, not on the same level as Green Room or Blue Ruin. So maybe my expectations were a little bit more tempered for this one, but I think that I didn't dislike Hold the Dark, if I remember correctly, but I believe this is like on a higher caliber than Hold the Dark.
Oh, 100%. This is so much better than Hold the Dark. And thank God.
I mean, one of the big things with me in this one is that I just wasn't sure where this was going. Like there were so many interesting, not necessarily twists, but just like the corruption that is mentioned here, like finding out how deep the rabbit hole goes with this and seeing, you know, what they're doing to this guy played by Aaron Pierre and like just how far things are going to go. I really liked that. I found this movie to be very, very engaging and compelling. Like I was just glued to this movie, and I really enjoyed it for that, among other things that we can get into.
Yeah, I gotta say, like right off the bat, interest was piqued once I realized that, like, oh, this is gonna be kind of about, like, I forget the actual name for it, but like the seizures, like the small amounts of money that a lot of departments do across the country. So once that was kind of set up in the very, very beginning, I was like, oh, this would be interesting because this is a different type of corruption that's not normally, because usually films go the fantastical route with corruption, you know, like they're involved in the local drug ring or some shit, you know, like super high stakes. And not saying that this isn't high stakes. This is more like grounded in reality of like, oh yeah, police departments do this all the time.
Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things that Saulnier really does well as a director. I think that he brings an element of realism that you rarely see, or you don't really see too much in crime thrillers or action movies. I guess you could call this an action movie, but I would say it's more of a crime thriller. The level of realism here it's very well done. I think that he tries to keep things very grounded, like you said, with the level of corruption and what's at play here. It feels like this is probably something that takes place in lots and lots of small towns across America. I don't think that this is like something that is so, you know, out there that isn't believable. And then the other thing is just how the action plays out in this. I found it to be very refreshing. I don't know if it's even like spoiler to say, like the main character, this guy, like he's not killing people. Like this is sort of a revenge movie, and I think that that's also something that Saulnier does really well. But the main character here, he's not a killer. He's not. This isn't First Blood. And it's funny because like the first thing I thought of when this movie started was like, oh, this is kind of like a modern, like a contemporary First Blood.
Well, and to that point, that was one of the things where like my interest was piqued, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, what are you gonna do with this? Because it's just like, petty forfeitures. Like
Hmm.
how are you gonna ramp this up? Like it's gonna be kind of crazy if it's just Aaron Pierre going nuts and killing everyone. That seems it's kind of it seems
Hmm.
crazy. But at the same time, you're like, just like where are you gonna go with this, and how are you gonna fill this up? 120 minutes or whatever, 131
Yeah.
with just, cash in a small town. You're like, what all can you do? And
You do a
surprisingly,
lot.
he does, he does a pretty good job of filling those
Yeah.
131 minutes. I still think it's a bit long, but
It's
I think he does.
it's long, but I didn't really feel the length. In fact, I'm kind of surprised when I saw that runtime just now that it is over 2 hours. I really wasn't feeling that length, and I think they do. There's some really fun, exciting set pieces. Like I think the action scenes are really well done, and again, I found it refreshing that this is a guy who he's not a killer. He's not trying to kill these cops. They're trying to kill him for sure, but he's like, you know, he knows that if he starts killing these cops, he's screwed. So he's taking them down in a non-lethal fashion, which is still incredibly satisfying to watch. It's not like he's not hurting these people, especially when he's shooting them with like bean bags and grenade launchers and stuff, which is, like another thing, like when they show the armory and how this little town with like five cops doesn't even have a jail, but they have this like massive armory of like military grade weapons.
Yeah, which is another thing that's pretty well grounded
Yeah,
in reality. You have tons of those across the
absolutely.
country. But I will say the 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 somewhat refreshing thing to me is as soon as Pierre's character is introduced as like ex-Marines, is like, okay, this is going to be another one of those movies. He's a fucking one-man
Hmm.
killing machine. And I do gotta appreciate the way that he kind of took that a
Yeah,
different route. It's where it just turns out where he's like, hey man, he's pretty fucking good at grappling.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay,
Pretty good at
that's different, I
subduing
guess.
people, disarming people.
Yeah. And then that first kind of stand down where you get to see it in action, you're like, okay,
Yeah,
thank you. I'm, I'm much more interested in this than, him just being a one man army.
yeah, absolutely. It kind of reminds me this movie kind of reminds me of Jack Reacher. Also, it's definitely reminiscent of Jack Reacher. Again, like I just feel like this was executed in a much more satisfying way to me, just because of how grounded it was, but also like really great writing. I love the script in this. There's definitely, there's a lot of comedic moments too, like little one-liners and stuff that I think add to the humor of this, which I think goes a long way. Loved the script, and then of course the performances you have here. I thought Aaron Pierre was fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before,
Oh yeah, dude, he
but
was so
he
good.
was just he crushed it. I mean, he absolutely crushed it. Don Johnson, we've seen
The,
Don Johnson play the bad guy in movies before, and I think that he does such a good job of being a son of a bitch. I love it. I love
he
it
is.
when Don Johnson is a bad guy, when he's a bastard, because he does such a good job with that. And then you have Anna Sophia Robb as Summer McBride, who is works at the courthouse, and she sees what is happening with the main character Terry, and decides that she's going to help him, and ends up putting herself in harm's way as well. I thought it was all great. I from the opening scene, when he gets pulled over on the bike and stuff, I think that it hits the ground running, and I feel like it never quite lets up. I liked the kind of rich, I don't want to say lore, but that's kind of what like I don't want to say world building either, but like, the fact that he had this relationship with this like Chinese restaurant, and he had like a steak in the Chinese restaurant. And there's former former Marine, and just like all of that stuff too. I feel like the characters were all very well developed.
But yeah, no, he definitely does a really good job of fleshing these characters out. Everyone gets like a little bit of at least some dedicated time to get some backstory, whether it's Aaron Pierre's character, and Sophia Robb's character, even Don Johnson, like the whole like how the police department got to where it is now. Like that's explained, and it's done in a relatively decent way. I don't think there was some expedition dumps, but I thought that they were nicely
Yeah,
sprinkled
yeah.
throughout.
We there was some kind of a little bit. But it was interesting because you heard Don Johnson's side of things first. What's going on, and then you kind of hear the real story about what's going on here as well. And it's actually it's almost like a mystery of what's going on, because you know that they're up to something, but you don't really know how it all fits together until towards the very end. And I think that makes for a more compelling watch as well.
And I think the other thing that I like about this, or the aspect that I like the most about this, is in terms of it being a mystery, is like when they're kind of discussing it towards the beginning, before they get like it really down into it, like they keep pointing out that they're like, none of this is really
Mhm.
illegal. Like this is all above board. Like, yeah, it shouldn't be, like I'm pretty sure like anyone watching it would agree, like, yeah, this is fucked up. But at the same time, none of this is really illegal, and they don't really have any recourse in terms of like, fighting
Yeah.
back until they start digging into it a little bit deeper, and then of course they get their angle. But for the longest time it's just like, yeah, this is super fucked up, can't believe they're doing this shit, but at the same time nothing you can really do about it, which is really
Yeah.
fucked up.
Also, shout outs to Steve Zissis, who's in here, and James Cromwell. Well, more minor roles for them, but still did a good job.
And with the Emery
Oh
Cohen,
my god, yeah.
it's been a while since I've seen him. Like, yeah, he plays such a
Yeah.
fucking
What a
such a
bastard. He's a pretty big bastard in this too. He does a great
yeah,
job.
he's so good at being just a fucking
David
shit.
Denman too.
I haven't
I
seen him in
like
a while
David
though.
Denman a lot, but he tends to get typecast in like other kind of bastard characters. He always plays like a jealous ex or a neglectful husband or something, and he's
Yeah.
always he always gets those types of roles. But I really like him.
Yeah, of course, here he is being it's not bad, but
He's
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 just trying to do his job,
he's
just
a
keep his
cop,
head down. Yeah, he can't go up against the entire law enforcement, but he'll reach out and
Yeah.
give you a heads up. No, fuck you, David Denman.
Yeah, I had a great time with this. This is another, I think great entry in Saulnier's filmography. Again, I think it isn't quite on the same level as Green Room or Blue Ruin for me, but it's still incredibly entertaining, and I highly recommend it. Anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, I agree. I agree with everything that you said. Another thing that I thoroughly enjoyed about this is the build up to the
Oh yeah,
centerpiece in terms of
because you
like
know it's
action
boiling.
set
You
piece.
know that we're getting
Yeah,
up, especially when he like breaks down the acronyms, like the pace stuff, because you
yeah.
know that things are
There's
just ramping up and up and up and up. Right.
But I love that he just takes it, because again, I'm thinking, okay, well, you've set up this whole thing. It's like, dude can grapple, he can take you down, and then it's like, okay, yeah, but now he's outside and there's 17 cops around him with guns, and I was just all I could think of, like when they're doing their little standoff, was the "It's Always Sunny" when Mac does the
Yeah.
with the samurai sword, and Charlie just shoots him. He's just like bang, 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 you're dead. It's just like, what's he good? Like, is he just gonna rush someone? And it is kind of ridiculously silly that he just like runs off to the side and grabs a guy, and none of them can hit him. It's just like, okay, I guess he proved Mac right in that
Yeah.
situation. But I do love that the entire set piece is just like him diffusing the situation in a sense. Like he's not necessarily killing anyone. He's just, smoke bombs, flash bombs, just disarming
Yeah,
people,
he's
and
outwitting
that's it.
them. He's outmaneuvering, outwitting them. The whole setup where when he tells them to meet him at the one place and then he ends up going back to the police station and ripping the whole wall out of the police station. Like he's a badass character. I mean, I don't think that this movie would ever get a sequel or anything like that. That would be ridiculous, and I don't want it. But this is the type of character that I would like to see again. In you know, I would. It's like I don't think it. I don't. I don't
We'll
want a
say,
sequel, but at the same time, I do. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I gotta say, like, I don't want a sequel either. But if we're going to get a sequel and turn it into a franchise of Aaron Pierre just grappling police departments across the country in small towns, I think I could maybe get
That's what I'm
behind that.
saying.
Honestly,
This awakens something in him, and then like he just goes from small town to small town and like sniffs out corruption and shuts it down. That's a great
yeah.
idea right there. $1 million idea.
Yeah, I would just say that the sequel should not be anywhere close to 131 minutes long. Keep them tight. Keep them old school. Keep them like 85
Yeah, I mean,
minutes.
again, I don't know. I don't know if Saulnier would. He doesn't seem like the type that would really be interested in doing a sequel to something, but who knows? Anyway, let's go ahead and give Rebel Ridge a score. Kevin, what are you going to give it out of 10?
I'm gonna give
I'm
it
at
a
a
7.
I'm at like a I'm at like a 7.75, even like a light 8, even a light 8 on this one. Really had a good time with it. Again, that's on Netflix, so check it out on there. Go ahead and talk about some we're watching. What do you got, Kevin?
I was hoping to get it finished for last week's episode, but it didn't. But that is The
I
Watchers
saw this
from this
also.
year. Shown
I don't
Night
know if I talked.
Shyamalan.
I don't think I talked about it on the show. I think maybe I watched it when we were in between. Yeah, I think we were on a
During our
break.
hiatus. Okay, so
I didn't like it at
what
all.
are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts on? Okay,
It started. I thought it started
I
off. Well, let me just preface that by saying the reason that I watched it was because, like her dad, I think that this is a movie that has a very interesting premise. A bunch of random strangers wake up or they are in a room where every night they just have to stand in front of a double-sided mirror and things watch them. Like I think it's a cool idea, but I feel like it didn't where it goes and how it ends, I think was extremely disappointing to me.
yeah, and this is what I because reading what it was about, I was like, okay, this sounds kind of interesting. See where this goes. And I gotta say, I was pretty unimpressed up until the point where it's kind of explained what's happening, like who the Watchers are, why this is taking place. That really intrigued me because I was like, oh, that's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
wild idea to commit to go about it in a serious manner. This specific type of folklore. But then it started explaining some more, like how this building was created, and it was just like, oh, well, now you're losing me. Like you had me for like a split second, and then a lot of the other issues where it's just a lot
Yeah.
of it was just ugly. It just didn't look good. Sorry, like it just the pacing of it, the technical aspects of it, like nothing. I didn't find any of it
Nope.
really compelling or engaging, except for when like the reveal of the folklore angle. I was like, oh, okay, here we go, nice. I like this, and then that kind of
Yeah,
started to
like
taper off again because
you
nothing else
get some
changed.
there's like some breadcrumbs that you get. Like when they find the hatch and stuff like that. There's like some things that you'll get where you're just like, okay, all right, and it'll like kind of pull you in a little bit. It'll kind of grab your attention right before you completely loses you, but then like eventually it just, yeah, I feel like it just didn't really work out. But Yeah.
No.
That's The Watchers.
Bummer.
Or it's just Watcher. No, it's The Watcher. The Watcher. I forgot to mention this when we talked about Trap last week, but did you notice in Trap there was a big billboard for The Watchers in the background at the beginning of the movie? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
I was like, come on. Come on.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But he's such a family guy. Like, I would be disappointed if he didn't do this shit.
I guess. You know what? You can complain about nepotism in Hollywood, but you know what? Like, if I was a big Hollywood director guy and my kids wanted to get into the business, I would help them out. So, whatever.
Yeah, you would.
I saw The Well. This is directed by Federico Zampaglione. This dropped on VOD this week. I mentioned it last week when we were doing the new releases. It's about an art restorer who goes to this little village in Italy to restore this like ancient painting. And as she's restoring it, there's like some kind of nefarious, perhaps supernatural things that are happening, that begin to happen as she's restoring the painting, involving a well and a really creepy looking like humanoid type creature. And there's some rituals that are taking place. The directing is horrible. The writing is absolutely atrocious. The performances are they're bad. Lauren Lavera stars in this, and she's fine. Like she does an okay job. I've never seen her before, but she's in Terrifier 2. And I think that's where she's in a bunch of like kind of slasher movies. She's, I guess, sort of a scream queen. So she was fine, but all the other performances, the look of this movie is ugly. It looked very cheap. The sets were not very realistic looking at all. Like the well itself, the titular well, looked like it was made of styrofoam. So yeah, this is just a very cheaply made movie that looks bad. However, the story itself is actually pretty good. And the gore effects. This is a very gory movie, very gore heavy. Next level gore effects in this, like really impressive, really impressive gore effects. Like this is like some major, like really complex stuff, like eyeballs getting gouged out. And there's one scene where the creature rips a guy's face off, and it just looks so disturbingly good. Like just really well done. Now, of course, that's me looking at this through a lens of a very low budget movie. This isn't like amazing, best I've ever seen or anything like that as far as the makeup effects. But it is worth noting. Again, everything else is kind of dog shit, and I can't really recommend it. But again, like the story is pretty good. Like I like the idea of an art restorer, like bringing this like painting back to life, and as she's doing it, like she's sort of perpetuating this ritual that's happening. It's kind of a cool idea. And at one point, she uses like the art restoration to fight the creature. Like she has to quickly restore more of the painting in order to stop the creature. So it's like a race against time where she has to restore that painting faster using those solvents and scalpels and things. And it's like,
oh, that's incredible.
It's charging at her, but she's got to restore it faster. So I kind of liked that. It was kind of goofy.
Unbelievable.
Again, that's called The Well.
All right. I watched Seth Holt's Taste of Fear from 1961. This is on Tubi, and it's on Tubi under the name Scream of Fear. Just a heads up. Give you the tagline for this. For maximum thrill, we earnestly urge you to see this picture from
well, I'm glad that they
start.
told me, because I was thinking about maybe starting it from like 15 or 20 minutes in.
I love it that it's not only like see it from the start, but that they're really nice about it. They're like, we earnestly urge you. Like, please. if you could just please
I
watch the
feel
movie
like
from the beginning. It would mean a
I just
lot to
feel like old movie promotion and marketing was just so much better and more fun than it is now.
Yes. Yes. So much better. So this is like an old kind of haunted house type film. A wheelchair-bound young girl played by Susan Strasberg returns to her father's estate. I think he was on like the Riviera, like the French Riviera. He's remarried, so she's meeting her stepmom for the first time. She gets out there. She hasn't been there in 10 years. Hasn't seen her father in 10 years. Never met her stepmother. Gets out there and she's told like almost immediately like, "Hey, your father left. Like he's on a business trip. He's making a deal. He'll be back, okay?" So she gets to the house, it's a beautiful estate, and she starts seeing like her dead father around the house, like seeing his dead body and everything. And she's losing it, obviously. But of course, like her stepmother and like the chauffeur and stuff are like, he's not dead. Like he's away on business. He's gonna be back in a couple of days. Like, chill out. Of course. She's also at one point had been
Mm.
committed, So you have that going on. Like, is something happening again? What's going on here? So that's why I say like it's kind of a haunted house movie, but not really. It's more so about like, okay, what's actually going on with the father? What's going on with the stepmother? And I gotta say, for the most part, pretty pretty tense movie. Nice mystery to it. The ending of this is just it's wild. The ending is wild. And man, was it worth it. This is just 82 minutes, just straight to it. No dicking
What would you
around.
say it's maximum
Having a
thrill?
good old time. I mean, I would say that it's borderline maximum thrill, but I
Okay.
saw this from the beginning. So for maximum thrill, I think
Got
this
it.
is as
Understood.
maximum as you can get
Okay.
from watching it from the beginning. Like it's topped out on its ability for thrill
Understood.
because it's got a hell of an
Yeah, this
ending.
looks awesome.
Let me tell you. And and the other great thing about this is like old movies would do like expedition dumps. Like they would just tell you, they'd just be like, "Hey, we're gonna explain everything right now." And I don't know why, but old movies, it just works for me.
Doesn't
Like
bother me
I'm
either
just
with
like,
old movies.
yeah,
It's
this
so
is fine.
weird. I guess because you expect it.
It's just
You
something
just
about
you
newer movies
expect it
when they
with
do
old
it.
movies. I don't know.
I also just feel like old movies, people in general back then, everyone was just better at writing because that
Hmm.
was just like a thing that you had to do. Like everyone was like, almost
Yeah.
everyone could write well. It seemed like they would do expedition dumps. It's like, hey, this is really well written.
Yep.
This is great.
Cool. That's Taste of Fear from 1961. The last one that I saw, I was away on vacation and I really didn't get a chance to watch a lot. I say vacation, but it wasn't really. I still worked the whole week. But anyway, I saw Mazes and Monsters, the movie we talked about last week from 1982, directed by Stephen Hilliard Stern,
Oh my
and
god.
it is notably
Yes.
Tom Hanks's first movie, and it's about a group of college friends, four college classmates who play this game called Mazes and Monsters, which is a very thinly veiled Dungeons and Dragons. And like they're having fun with the game, but then they want to up the stakes a little bit. So one of the friends decides like, hey, let's kind of take mazes and monsters and bring it into real life. So basically, they're LARPing at that. Like before LARPing was a thing, before people knew, I guess, probably what I don't know the history of LARPing, but I feel like it wasn't really a thing until much later. But basically, they decide to LARP in this cave that's like closed down. It's like a mine or something. And basically, one of the kids loses his mind, and it happens to be Tom Hanks. So he has a complete psychotic break and is no longer able to distinguish between real life and the game. And he ends up like going to New York City and stabbing a guy in an alley because he thought he was like a monster. And then he goes to the top of the World Trade Centers and is planning on jumping off because he thinks that he took some magic powder and can fly. Yeah, this movie's kind of wild, but it's bad. It's very bad. It's very poorly written. The acting is not. It's not. It's whatever. It's okay. I think this was actually a TV movie. It's on Tubi and it's on Crackle, and the quality is absolute trash. It's so bad. It looks like a VHS rip or something. And it is just another one of these movies that is just trying to blame Dungeons and Dragons for, people going nuts. So it's,
yeah.
I just don't like the message here with this movie. And the crazy thing is, I'm going to spoil it. The crazy thing is, he doesn't get better. The end of the movie is them visiting him at his home, and he's still stuck in the game, and that's how the movie ends. He just doesn't get better.
So this is like Reefer Madness, but for D&D. Yeah. Unbelievable. This is crazy. So yeah, this is on Crackle. This is on Fubu. This is on Hoopla. This is on Cult. This is on Roku. Tubi, Vudu, FlixFling, Peacock. Plex,
it's everywhere. This thing TV. Is everywhere. You can watch this anywhere and everywhere. In all its 4:3 aspect ratio VHS quality glory.
What I want them to do before Tom Hanks dies, I would like him to do a sequel, and he's still trapped in the game, and he's just even further fucking gone mentally.
I would like to see them remaster this and come out with a new version on Blu-ray and have Tom Hanks do the commentary track and see if he even remembers anything about making this movie.
The crazy thing is, I just looking at the cast here. Susan Strasberg is in this movie, who I just mentioned from Taste of Fear. She was the lead, and she's in this.
I think she was the
How
mom.
about that? Incredible.
I think she might have been the mom. Yeah. At any rate, I don't recommend this, but it is maybe like on a kind of so bad it's good type thing. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Love it. Absolutely love it. The last thing I'll mention, another Tubi, which I didn't realize when I pulled this movie up, it was Tubi original. So I think this might be my first Tubi original movie, which is Where the Devil Roams, the Addams Family. So you talked about Hellhole last week. What I learned right before we did our thing is that my wife wants to watch all of their movies. So I was like, all right, we'll pick one.
Mm-hmm.
So we did Where the Devil Roams. Pulled up on Tubi original. I was like, God damn, they're doing a Tubi original movie? This is interesting. And I gotta say, for like a Tubi original, I mean, honestly, I don't know what the fuck I was expecting or was supposed to expect. But like, this was like way more artistic than I was expecting. I'm thinking Tubi original, you're going for entertainment. Like this is gonna be, but this is a period piece.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of
highly stylistic
horror stuff happening here a little bit.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on. It's like occasionally it's a musical, or at least like goes into music video mode. And I gotta say, outside of some pacing issues, I appreciated this. Like, it was disgusting when there was the gore. This is the family, like, murderous. It says I don't know what their show actually is, and I don't understand how they're a part of the carnival in any way, until, like, the thing happens and she gets the heart needle. But she just, like, sings, and her parents are beside her, just moving weird, and that's it. Like, I don't know why that's a show.
I don't know.
But okay, this just seemed weird because it's like, what is this? And then finally, like, it changed. Something happened, and this show changed and transformed, and actually started getting like popular. And I was like, okay, like I get it now, but man, it really should have been something else before.
I feel like there could have been like a room for a lesser crazy version of what they did later. You know what I mean? Like like maybe the dad like put nails in up his nose or swallowed a sword or did something else that
Yeah,
was like kind of like self-harm inducing, but like just not on the same level as what
something.
happens after.
Because it's so funny. Like I don't know if it was after the first show or the second show. You know, the mother is like, "Do you think we'll get the Buffalo Horror Show?" I'm like, "What makes you think you're gonna get the Buffalo Horror Show? She sings like a weird song. You guys barely move. Like, what the fuck? You're not putting any effort
Yeah,
in.
this is a
You are
very
not getting
low effort
Buffalo.
sideshow act.
Stop being delusional. My goodness, people, you're not doing anything. Thinking you're getting Buffalo. Give me a break." But man, this thing is gory, and I gotta say, I did enjoy the style. Like it looked
That's what
quite quite compelling
that's
at
the thing
times.
about
Just
the Addams Family movies is that the level of ambition with these movies is it's wild. It's like they do anything like like a period piece that and then there were those scenes the like the flashback scenes if I'm remembering it correctly. Yeah, the war
where he's
scenes
running
like they were
around
really well
in the
shot,
war.
really
Yep.
looked really good. I mean this.
And then even like
Mhm.
they do most of the
Yeah,
music because they have the metal band, and like even some of the metal music that they're doing, I'm like,
yeah,
this is pretty good music too. Like
they did the
Jesus.
music in Hellhole too, so it has that kind of metal soundtrack.
I will say that it's certain points, like in the beginning of the movie, it didn't quite fit. It fit
Yeah,
later,
yeah.
but in the beginning, it just
Yeah.
felt out of place.
To be clear, I was not a fan of this movie. I could not get into it as much as I wanted to. I really wanted to get into it, but I just couldn't.
But I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
like I
to
said last
watching
week,
more.
I will keep consuming the stuff that they make just because I think that it's really interesting stuff. Very, very curious. You should check out The Deeper You Dig now.
Yep, I
'Cause
think
to
that is
me,
going to be
that
the
one
next one.
is like I
Actually,
still think Hellbender's my favorite, but The Deeper You Dig is up there as well. It's a lot more subdued than Where the Devil Roams and Hellhole. It's like way more like not a lot happens. It's kind of a no burn that one, but still got great atmosphere.
yeah,
Cool.
look forward
I
to it.
think that'll do it. All right.
That'll do it.
Okay, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got Speak No Evil. I'm not super interested in this one. This is a remake, and I feel like the original was the original just came out not too long ago. I saw it. I know that I saw it for the first time like very recently. Let me see.
Yeah,
When did that?
2022.
2022. The original one came out in 2022. Yeah, it's a Danish film. It's it's a great movie. It's on Shudder actually. But the thing is like it doesn't need to be remade. Like it's simply one of these like just because it needs to be in the English language, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I
Actually,
was
I
trying
think
to.
you know what? Now that I think about it, I think the movie is in English. I think the original one is actually in English.
What the? Okay, yeah, I remember this movie.
It's really
That's right.
good.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know why they decided to remake it. Not
interesting.
necessary.
Completely unnecessary.
And I think it's the same director too. Like I think the director.
No, it's a different director.
Oh no, is it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thought it was one of those double dip situations. Who is the director? James Watkins, the guy who did Woman in Black. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
All right. Well, if you're, if you saw a trailer for Speak No Evil and you're interested in it, I would just say check out the original one on Shudder. It's a relatively new movie, and it's pretty good. And I would be willing to bet that it's better than this remake that's coming out. I think that there's probably I would imagine that a little bit of the nuance has been stripped away of the new one. Let's see what else we have here. My Old Ass, got Killer's Game. It's pretty much it. Is this a Matt Walsh movie? Yeah, there's some Matt Walsh movie coming out called Am I Racist? I don't think we need to see that. You are racist, Matt. Simple as that.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. I always okay. Good, good. I was thinking of Upright Citizens Brigade.
No, not him.
It's like, what is happening? What do you mean?
No,
What?
the Matt Walsh, the quote unquote political commentator.
Okay, gosh, it scared me there for a second.
Yeah, you don't no need to worry about the other Walsh from Veep. All right, let's see what we got on VOD this week. Got Subservience coming out. Got Booger. Slightly interested in this one about a woman who loses her roommate and starts taking care of her cat. But then after the cat bites her, she like starts to turn into a cat or something.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Seems like maybe a dark comedy of sorts.
I gotcha.
Got Hereafter. Got Believer. Believer sounds like it could be interesting too. A young writer named Michelle Moore is attacked by a notorious cult leader and mass murderer, a man who exerts inexplicable control over his growing followers. When she claims no memory of the attack, her family begins to question her motives. What is really going on?
Oh man, is she crazy?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But there's a cult, so, color me interested. Got Kung Fu Games. That looks awful. We got Winner, based on true story. This is reality. Winner biopic. I'm kind of interested in that. A Halloween Feast. We got Trilogy New Wave. I think that's a surfing documentary. Got Dead Money. The Nana Project. Bo Nan Za, discovering what happens when a dignified urban drifter explores and revamps the common roads of a sleeping city. All right. Got Wineville. Some family secrets are best left dead and buried. We got Stinky Summer. This camp smells like trouble. Okay. As her parents launch their app, Olivia is sent to summer camp to discover her talents. When villains target the app, Olivia befriends a skunk and her cabin mates, using her tech skills to protect the project and catch the thieves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you're talking.
Right? That sounds like an early aughts type of movie to me.
It sure does.
We got Lies We Tell, and then Mom and Dad's Nipple Factory. That is a documentary. On Netflix this week, we got Uglies, in a futuristic world that imposes a cosmetic surgery at 16. Sally is eager for her turn to join the rest of society. Other kind of nonsense happens. Techno Boys. What is this? Techno Boys. 20 years after topping the charts, Techno Boys reunite to claim the pop throne, but must battle newer groups in a changed music world. Looks like a comedy, but I can't tell who's in it. Oh, it might be a Spanish language comedy. We got Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter, Sector 36. Got Boxer, and then
what's gonna end?
And then we have Officer Black Belt. Yeah, Netflix as usual, just churning out the. Remember when Netflix used to like have really interesting stuff that they would put out, like creative stuff, and they would just give really interesting directors a blank check.
I don't know about that.
Well, more than what it is now, let's say.
Yeah.
On Blu-ray this week, we have Inside Out 2. We got The Strangers. That's the original 2008 one. Got Stepfather from 1987 coming out in 4K. Late Night with the Devil's getting a Blu-ray release. Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1. I had heard, and I can't confirm this, but I had heard that they just canceled Chapter 2. So it's only just going to be Chapter 1.
Really? I feel like he already.
That's what I thought too. But then I had heard something about them like not releasing Chapter 2 because the first one did so poorly.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, maybe it'll just like come out on VOD or something, and they'll just not put it out in theaters.
I was gonna say it's got to be a straight to streaming.
Yeah. Let's see. Wind River from 2017. Got Black Belt Jones from 1974. Got Kill. That's the one from earlier this year. I'd recommend that one. Crazy Indian action movie. Boulevard Night from 1979. Fatal Vision from 1984. Zoltan, Hound of Dracula from 1977. Got The Shadow Boxing from 1979. Tremors 2 Aftershocks Special Edition 4K coming out from 1996. That's on Arrow. Clock Watchers from 1997. That's pretty much it. What about Criterions this week?
You got two. Well, one Criterion. All of Us Strangers. What was that? Last year? 2023? Yeah. Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal.
Great movie.
And then a Janus Contemporaries, Totem, from I think also last year. Yeah, 2023. Two 2023s. Back to back.
I've not seen Totem, but I loved All of Us Strangers.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that yet.
I
remember you liking it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Cool. Well, now you have an opportunity to check it out on Criterion.
Yes, sir.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, please give us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.